Yo, what up, people? Welcome back or welcome. I hope that this finds you when it needs to find you. I hope that you are hearing what you need to be hearing, as always, as per usual. That doesn't mean that it means any less from me to you, from me to me. I know that I need to be learning from this just as much as I need you to be learning from it, because this is more about me and what I need to be saying out loud to myself than it is to you. And I'm kind of just hoping that it catches on as I go. And this thing that I'm about to say, I'm sure neither of us want to hear, but maybe it won't feel better. Maybe it won't. Maybe life will always come with a struggle. Maybe there will always be some kind of grizzle. So when you bite into it, it doesn't taste perfect. Life isn't perfect. Life isn't perfect. It never will be. Maybe it will never feel perfect. Maybe you will never feel like you are completely ready to tackle the day. Maybe when you wake up, it feels like you're doing the 100th sit-up and you can't actually get up. You don't have that energy. You don't have that oomph. What is that the way that you say it? I'm not sure. But maybe it will always be hard. Maybe when you ask for consistency from whatever you believe in, maybe you just get that itch. Maybe you get that itch to do it all yourself, to do it all now. Maybe when you ask for peace, you'll get things instead that will make you fight for that peace. And the other day I was just asking, why does more go on my plate? Why can't you take things off first? Why can't you help me process these things? Why do I have to fight for these lessons? Why do I have to fight for understanding? Why do I have to fight for my blessings? And it gets really, really fucking frustrating. So frustrating to have to handle the idea that everything is already kind of going a little haywire, and then you have to understand that there is more hitting you. To have that familiar feeling of a similar tone of voice. I'm not going to be specific because I don't think, everybody needs to hear about my shit all over again, but to have a specific reminder of something that you have yet to fully process through. But maybe that's the same reason why your plate is still full, is because you're the one that's not processing through it. I'm not trying to pass the blame back to you. I'm not trying to say that the solution is just take responsibility, even though I'm sure that that's a big part of the solution. But not everything comes down to just you snapping your fingers and saying, hey man, I get it now, and I'm going to hold myself accountable. Because there's a lot of guilt that can come with that too. Not everything falls at your feet, and life itself is just not perfect. It's not on you every turn and every situation, every person you've lost, every new instance of bad news that you receive, every new thing that's shoveled onto your plate when you haven't been able to process the rest. But what is your responsibility is you. It is you beforehand. It's you now. It's the way that you process through these things that you're being handed now, and whether you did or did not process the things that have been there for a while. So no, it's not all at your feet. No, it's not all on you. But some things are your responsibility in a life that's not perfect, and it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. Somebody told me that one time, and I think that resonates very heavily. That it's not you who did it, but it's you who has to deal with it. And that's the reality. Maybe it won't feel better. Maybe there's just things that you have to deal with, things that you have to process through, and maybe that will always be there. Maybe there will always be this weight. Maybe when you ask for, maybe when you need help finding yourself, you lose yourself in the process. Maybe you feel alone instead. When you feel that you so desperately need help, maybe you feel alone. Because maybe that's the exact thing that will force you into a corner of helping yourself. Truly helping yourself for once. So I guess my point in all of this is maybe it won't feel better, but isn't that what makes it so much better? if you lose that piece of yourself, isn't that what makes it feel so much better when you not only regain that piece of yourself, but you gain more knowledge to go with it? After going broke, wouldn't it feel incredibly more satisfying to have made all of your money back? I know that that's a super shallow example. I'll try to think of some more important ones as I go on, but isn't that the whole point? Isn't that the whole point? That life is not perfect. Life will never be perfect, but isn't that the same thing that will give you this immense, beautiful feeling when you actually achieve those blessings? Yes, I'm frustrated that I have to work my ass off for these blessings. Yes, I'm frustrated that things don't feel as rewarding as I thought they would. But we go into everything with an anticipation. We go into everything with an expectation, and expect that this is going to be exactly what we thought. When we were kids, we wanted to be older. Older because that means we'll feel cooler, And now that we're older, we want to be kids again. Because we realize that life isn't perfect and life kind of fucking sucks. Life sucks when you have shit to worry about, when you have things to handle, when you have losses to cope with, when you have grief to carry, when you have a weight on your chest in the morning. There's shit about this life that we just didn't anticipate. An expectation that we threw onto growing up, that we thought that growing up was this beautiful, wonderful thing, that nothing could possibly compare to it, that's the coolest thing that could possibly happen. And yet we just weren't ready to actually come to terms with what's around us, to actually realize that this shit doesn't feel the way that we thought it would. The shit don't feel as good as we thought, And it definitely won't feel as good as it looks. I'm sure that you got these social media presences that look like their life is just fucking pristine. They go on vacation all the time. I'm sure that vacation is good, but I can tell you, every time that I go on vacation, I feel like I'm having a heart attack because I'm leaving what I knew behind, And I know that that's a little bit personal, but hopefully you can relate. That's what this is for, right? It's for me to bounce random shit out there and hopefully you get it, But every time that I go out of my way to experience something, and experience something in its fullest, I feel like I'm leaving a piece of me behind. And so I get stressed, and I realize that because life isn't really meant to feel good, then am I truly allowed to feel good in this moment in time? And maybe I'll never get over that. That's my whole point with all this. Maybe that's why I said it. Maybe I won't get over that. Maybe I won't process through that. Maybe I won't truly ever go on a vacation and not feel this weight. Events have happened in my life where suddenly I have a tough time waking up and getting up every morning. I have a tough time of acting out my goals and dreams. I have a tough time in conversing with the people that I care about. I have a tough time in being a part of love. Because in my opinion, love can hurt. In my opinion, love can equate to pain, and this is exactly what we talked about in the last episode. So I'm always putting this wall up in between me and myself. Always putting this wall up in between me and those that I love, me and those that I care about, because life isn't good for me for the most part. Life hurts, and I'm not anticipating that it will get better. So when I feel better, I close it off. When I feel better, I shut it down. That's the whole point, is maybe at some point in my life, I will just finally come to terms with the reality that I can't change that. And maybe this is the acceptance phase of grieving the loss of not only my family, but my childhood. Maybe this is the acceptance phase of grieving my childhood. Understanding now that I may never get that feeling back. And now I'm in that acceptance. I'm in accepting the fact that there's some things that I can't change. And if they're there forever, and if I have to accept that loss and make peace with it, then I have to accept that loss and make peace with it. Now, me saying this out loud doesn't mean that it makes it any fucking easier. Me saying it out loud doesn't mean that I'm any closer to truly feeling that way, but, but maybe I am. Maybe this is just a step in the right direction. Maybe you hearing this is a step in the right direction. But nothing changes if nothing changes. You need to put action in. So no, it's not going to feel better every time that you wake up in the morning, and you're not going to feel great going to a job that you don't feel like will serve you long term. You're not going to feel great getting up and going to the supermarket and waiting in line next to people that you just don't feel that you care about. No, you're not going to feel great every time that you get up and go to the gym. No, you're not going to feel great every time that you pick up that hobby. No, not everything feels great. But you need to work for it. And again, maybe all of that is what makes it so much better when you receive that piece of you back. And there's bumps in this road, but doesn't that make a newly paved road feel so much smoother? Doesn't the rain look so much more satisfying after it stopped pouring down? Or once you're inside and the sun comes out, whatever it is. Doesn't rain look so much more satisfying when the sun comes out? Seriously. There's this idea that and this expectation that life will just always be what we expect it to be, what we anticipate for it to be. But no. Life, for the most part, does not feel good. You're struggling for the majority of the time. You are constantly fighting against something. You are constantly growing from something, constantly growing out of something. You are constantly growing, and with growing comes growing pains. We fail to realize that when we anticipate becoming an adult and we anticipate moving out of our childhood phases, we fail to realize that the adult phases of our lives come with growing pains. We're expecting that life will be cool, but maybe it won't get better. Maybe it won't get better than those pure moments of bliss. Maybe it won't get better than the wonder that we have as children. And no, we can't go back. But maybe we need to make peace with the fact that we can't go back. Now, I know that that's a hard thing to do in itself. I know it takes learning and it takes time, and like I said, this is like a grieving process. In my opinion, every loss is like a grieving process. It's denial, and then it's acceptance, and then after that I kind of forget all of the steps. But as far as I've seen, every loss that anyone has ever experienced processes it in the same way, under the same patterns. They go through the same steps. They look at it the same way. And there has to be a point when you accept. There has to be a point when you accept this person isn't coming back. No matter what context that is in. But there also has to be a point that you accept that this style of life, this feeling of life, may not come back. Now this isn't me saying settle for being depressed. This isn't me saying you can't do anything to change the way that you feel. But this is me saying accept where you're at. There are struggles to life. You have control over certain struggles within life. However, you need to just accept the fact that you can't control everything, every angle of every feeling, and every nuance of every little detail of everything. You can't do that. And you need to come to terms with the fact that within these little details, within these categories that we experience, within these different, within these different boxes, there's going to be certain things on those boxes that will give you paper cuts. Cardboard cuts anyways, but whatever, you get the point. Not everything's going to be comfortable. And accepting that is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that accepting that life will just be shit forever. That's not it. That's not it at all. And life is not meant to be like that. But there's fleeting moments. And maybe that's all that we can truly experience is fleeting moments. But maybe experiencing them and taking part in them truly and accepting that not every moment is like this is what makes that moment so much more special. What makes you understand so much more that this right here is exactly what I was looking for this whole entire time. So no, it's not easy, and maybe it won't feel better. No, maybe it won't. But maybe that also makes it feel better. Does that make any sense? You know? Maybe this hole persists. Maybe you always feel this hole. Maybe you always feel this absence, but maybe those moments where you forget that absence is there is exactly what makes you want to get up every single morning. I'm not guaranteeing you that hearing this or feeling your way through these things, I'm not guaranteeing you that they'll help you out. I'm not guaranteeing you that they'll feel good. I'm not guaranteeing you anything. Anything other than the fact that if you accept the fact that there are struggles that come with life, that suddenly you can process these struggles a lot easier. The more that you can accept that you are entitled to being emotional, the more that you can accept that you are entitled to being frustrated, the more that you can accept that you are entitled to being mad when that comes up, then the closer you are to accepting that you can be happy. The closer you are to accepting that you can be at peace with where you're at. The closer you are to accepting that there's a beautiful world outside. We have to stop locking ourselves inside of our rooms and cursing the world for exactly what the world comes with. You want to run and hide all your life, I get it, it's understandable. But you can't. And no, maybe it won't feel better. But again, maybe that's what makes it feel better. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like there's a lot more that I could have and should have touched on, but just please trust me when I say that life isn't all struggle, but life comes with struggle. You have to be prepared for these things. And you have to accept that there's a portion of life that will have that. And you have to accept that there's also a portion of life that will have the opposite of that. And again, maybe that's what makes it so much better. So, I don't know. I hope that all made sense. I hope that I'm not just fucking rambling and chasing the same dead end this whole entire time. I feel a little bit sporadic, and I just hope you understand what I'm saying. But maybe it's because I don't necessarily understand what I'm saying. And that's what this is it's me talking about my shit, and then hopefully you guys relate as I go. But maybe the whole point of this as well, and me not understanding what I'm saying, is also exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe me understanding what I'm not understanding what I'm saying is the same feeling that I'm kind of leaning towards, that maybe because I'm talking about it, it's not going to feel better. You know, maybe me not understanding is me not feeling better. And maybe this is the perfect opportunity to try and come to terms and be at peace with the fact that it's not that simple. It's not as simple as me just spewing it out, and then suddenly you guys get it, and I get it, and I'm processing through it, and I'm done with it. No. Maybe there's a long rest of the day ahead of me. I'm stuttering. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know. What I do know is that it's not making me feel better. But maybe I shouldn't have expected that. But maybe there's going to be a point in time where this lesson, when I watch it back, when I listen back, with this lesson will truly carry a weight that I couldn't have imagined. will move me in ways that will open up the doors for healing. And that's exactly what we all need. So, I don't know. I hope I'm not just disjointed. I hope that you guys actually listen. I'm not sure that you guys listen anyways. So, does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? Fuck no, it doesn't. Why am I caught in self-judgment? That's another learning lesson or an opportunity to learn and grow and heal and all that kind of bullshit. Not bullshit, but you get what I'm saying. And if you're here, I love you guys. I do. And we're all human. And humans experience shit that don't feel too fucking good. And maybe it won't get better, but maybe that's exactly what will make it feel better. So, yeah. I love you guys. Peace out.